で世界をみたいな誰にも出せない答えが僕の中に
Hey guys, welcome back to the Bucket Think Tank. So here we are, the cards with teeth, as part of our Yu-Gi-Oh! Comic Run talk. So this is actually one of the most important chapters in the entirety of Season 0, the Shadow Game era, the Domino City days, whatever you want to call it. This introduces Duel Monsters, or Magic and Wizards, which I kind of like Magic and Wizards a bit better, but whatever, as you do. So anyway, it's introduced as the card game that's become such a hit in America, very meta, Duel Monsters, and they talk about how the introduction of the game and how you play it, and this is where it gets weird. It's a trading card game. Your game where you trade cards. Okay. You play with two people. You each take one card, and the one who wins takes both. I do not think that's what a trading card game is. Call me crazy, but whatever. The whole premise is that both players are set up so that they're wizards and they use cards to cast spells and summon monsters to fight. They have different attributes, attack and defense. Person loses all their life points first, loses the game. Boop, boop, ba-doop. It's kind of it. And so, as they go through, Yugi's grandpa introduces his rarest card, which is the Blue Eyes White Dragon. And he's so overpowered that they stop production. Collectors will pay through their nose to get their hands on an ultra rare card like this. It's also pointed out that the cards are so rare. Some cards are so rare that some dude sold his house to buy one. So yeah, Blue Eyes alone is wild. The deck itself is kind of trash, but that's neither here nor there. That's at least 15-20 years away. So yeah. So then we come to the arrival of Seto Kaiba. Alright? And this becomes one of the most important characters introduced since Chapter 1, honestly. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Seto Kaiba, but not Kaiba as you know him. No. While this may be the first introduction of Duel Monsters and Seto Kaiba, this is not the Kaiba. This is not the game you knew if you stuck purely to the original 4Kids anime. So he's coming in, and okay, so what's going on here? Saw there was a card shop here, a game store. Thought I'd come here and see what's going on here. And he sees the Blue Eyes, the legendary Blue Eyes White Dragon. Alright, he's like, where'd you get the card? What's it doing here? Let me have it. And he wants it because if he's never seen one before, never thought he'd hold one. But if he owned this card, he'd be invincible. And so he wants the card. Like, okay, you know what? I'll give you all these cards if you just, trade me that card. Alright? It's like, okay. And truth be told, those cards selected are actually not really worth that. Oh, is that a card to save for turn? No, it's hard to tell in that one. So, even when offered money for it, he says, no, I can't, because this card isn't just, it's not the rarity to it, it's not its attack value, it's because this was a gift from a friend from America. As a matter of fact, play the clip.
Kaiba, right? I understand how you feel, but I'm not keeping the card because it's rare, but because it was given to me by a good friend in America. It's a treasure filled with memory. There is no way I can part with it. A truly precious treasure has your heart and soul in it. This card contains that. That's why, Kaiba, you should cherish each card in your trunk as if it were as valuable as the Blue-Eyed Dragon.
So, yeah, it's important not because of what it does, but what it means. And this is the premise of the Heart of the Cards. The idea that it's something that holds significant value not because of what it does or what it's worth monetarily, but what it means to him. There's a bit of his heart. His friendship with that guy is solidified or symbolized through that card. A piece of his heart is in that card. The Heart of the Cards. There you go. We just explained what's going to become a major magic system later on. At least metaphorically. Anyway. So we resume days at Domino School. And, Duel Monsters is coming in. Yugi's apparently very good at it. Joe is also very bad at it. So, there we go. And Kaiba's coming in like, yeah, okay. he points out that this is pretty low-level play, which makes sense. You know, they've all just got a couple packs, you know, just enough to build a deck. So, you know, not much there, but is what it is. Kaiba, meanwhile, puts on the front of like, that was really fun, that was really great. And then he brings up, hey, Yugi, do you have the Blue Eyes White Dragon? Can I see it again? Because what your grandpa said resonated with me. He was like, oh, okay. And, yeah, he switches it out because he's Kaiba. And no one is the wiser. At least Kaiba thinks so. And, yeah, it's interesting because Yugi already gets the feeling he's a little sweaty, a little nervous. But anyway, at the end of school, Yugi goes in like, hey, Kaiba, get the card back. Look, I can tell it was a fake. Look, just give me the card back. Yugi has decided to wait until the end of school so everyone, just him and Kaiba, to not cause a scene. Yugi's better than most people, because we all know, especially in card shops, that kind of stuff does not fly here. Yeah, this is like I said, this is not your anime Kaiba. I was like, you think I stole it? He doubles down. Yugi points out that, hey, I promise, if I don't get my promise, you know, it'll break my grandpa's heart. You know how important it is to him. Kaiba just shuts him up by hitting him with his briefcase, and we all know what happens now, right? Yep, he's here. He's here. He trashed the heart of the cards, messed with his grandfather's heart. Yeah, of course the other Yugi would show up, which means, yes, he blacked out again. So anyway, Yugi calls Kaiba out to school for a game of Duel Monsters, or Magic and Wizards. Like, you know what? This will be different than the other games you've played before. You'll see once we start. And so, the game starts. Kaiba points out that, hey, if I'm in a pinch, I'll always have the Blue Eyes White Dragon. I can just tell him I got it someplace else. So he goes in, he plays Ryukushin Gargoyle, and to his surprise, it comes to life.
What? What's going on? I told you, Kaiba. This game will be different from all the others.
And Yugi summons his Blackland Fire Dragon, and it begins! Alright, these are the rules of the Shadow Game version of Duel Monsters. Like, the cards are coming to life. It's fire, it's lightning, it's spectacular, amazing. And Kaiba's response is just, this is great. This is what I'm looking for. So, he summons Battle Ox, and apparently, this card is rare. For those of you that remember, this was in the starter deck Kaiba back in the 2000s. So I don't know where that's coming from, but whatever. But it's bigger than Blackline Fire Dragon, and it goes in. And what's interesting about this duel is this is the first Shadow game where Yugi actively is not in control of everything going on here. This is really just a matter of who draws the best card at this point. Granted, that was pretty much early Yu-Gi-Oh! In general, but whatever. It is pretty uneventful. Like, we see the mystical elf make an appearance for the first time with his 2k defense. Then we get the weird equip spell, Giant's Might. And, you know, it raises the Battle Ox attacks points by 20% from 17 to 2040. It's, I don't know what is it with this percentage thing. It's important to note that I do not believe that this game was created with it actually being as popular as it was, like in this story. But anyway, goes through. Yugi top decks the Summoned Skull. Yeah, it's wild. Alright, Kaiba's like, that's one of the 5 strongest fiends. How could he possibly have it? Well, his grandpa owns a game store. He probably gets, like, maybe first dibs on packs. You know, it happens. It is a pull game. Like, hey, what can you pull? So, Kaiba decides to reveal, you know, palm the Blue Eyes on top of the deck. He draws it. The rarest card on Earth. Exodia hasn't been made yet. Or it has, but it hasn't been written yet. So, we go in. He summons the Blue Eyes. It's there. And Kaiba looks. This is actually a look Kaiba's going to have a while. I call this Power Mad Kaiba. Alright? And he's like, that's my grandpa's card. Your grandfather's card? That's my very own card. I got it somewhere else. Yeah! I need to stop. Anyway, so now, Blue Eyes. What are you doing? What are you doing? He's like, Kaiba, you just don't understand the true meaning of this game. That card won't attack me. Because your soul isn't in that Blue Eyes White Dragon. I'm like, what? What? He can see the soul of his grandpa behind those blue eyes. His grandpa's eyes are purple, but whatever. And the blue eyes destroys itself, alright? And he points out, like, look, that card is an important memento of the friendship my grandfather had with a dude in America, alright? And in this shadow game, where the strength of one's soul is all that really matters, the soul of that card was not synced up with you. And so it destroyed itself. I'm sure that won't ever happen again with the blue eyes. So it's like, okay, so it's dead, and now it's my turn, and I draw Monster Reborn to bring back the Blue Eyes White Dragon and attack for game. Yeah, it's a lot of first here. And so now he gets the penalty game, tormented by monsters. And it's wild. It is wild. It is wild as that's how the story ends. Kaiba getting not mind crushed, but tortured by experiencing death in that world. And but his wish is that by becoming a card, Kaiba will understand the heart of the cards. But just remember, the death you're experiencing is only a nightmare, only an illusion. Okay, I don't think he's going to really care for that one, but that's how the story ends. So, this was a lot of first here. A lot of really good first here. Blackland Fire Dragon is actually the first monster Yugi plays in the rebooted anime. So, there's that. That's fun. That's kind of it for that one. I would really like to see Blackland Fire Dragon get retrained, maybe for the Shining Sarcophagus archetype. Like, let's do that. Blue Eyes White Dragon makes his debut here, which is interesting because despite the fact that Yugi's ace is the Dark Magician, ironically the most iconic card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the Blue Eyes White Dragon. I remember when I played with my mom for a bit. She loves the Blue Eyes White Dragon. She's like, with all my might, I summon the Blue Eyes White Dragon. It is what it is. She's cringe. I love her. It doesn't matter. But the important thing here is green-haired Kaiba. Alright? Because this Kaiba, as I said, is not the Kaiba you all know and love. This dude is scum of the earth. Alright? He really is a terrible human being. Alright? And it's like, here's the thing. There's going to be stuff that happens in this manga that he does that, to me, Yugi would never want to talk to this man again. Alright? Which, to be fair, Yugi doesn't actually go looking to talk to Kaiba anyway. But, whatever. It's sort of a reason why whenever either Yugi sees Kaiba, it's like, Kaiba. It's never, hey Kaiba. It's like, Kaiba. It's because of green hair Kaiba. It's on site with this. And this game is sort of interesting. It's played on a table. Now, I know that's sort of weird. Like, what does that have to do with anything? Well, in pretty much every other game going forward, when it comes to this, the manga will always have it be at a table until Battle City. But when we think of it as an anime, we tend to think of those big duel stadiums, those big duel arenas, where, one dude's on one side summoning cards, and one dude's on the other side summoning cards. It is sort of fun in that way. But I would be remiss if I don't sort of enjoy that intimacy, the sort of closeness of the game. It works, sometimes it doesn't. I wouldn't mind seeing it animated in something better than the fan dub we have for Season 0. Points to those guys. Points to Team Millennium Productions. Love those guys. Because we're probably never going to get this thing dubbed properly. Although there were rumors about it coming. But whatever. It's interesting. What's interesting about Kaiba is he's going to be such a permanent fixture in the series, and it's sort of weird to think about how different he was in the beginning. I don't think there's any character that sort of undergoes that sort of transformation, not just from manga to anime, but from the season 0 manga, from the Shadow Games manga to just the main manga. Because once we leave the Shadow Game arc, it does sort of like undergo a reboot in itself, which I think might have been the first time that happened with a manga. But that's its own thing whatsoever. Overall, though, The Cards with Teeth is a really fun, engaging, dark story which introduces a new character who I don't think, from the context here, we think we'd see again. But make no mistake, Kaiba is coming again, and death will follow him. But that's enough of sounding pretentious. Anyway, if you're new to the Bucket Think Tank, feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe, check out some other videos, and I'll catch you all later. This is the Bucket Think Tank signing off. Thanks for watching. As always, may your fandom serve you well.